Saying that helping others creates more ego sounds like an insane statement. But many people, when they get into the spiritual scene, they try to help others to be a good person because they believe it'll further their spiritual practice. And then they go out and they try to save the world, and people take advantage of them. They abuse them, they use them, they always want more, and they're left confused and not understanding, what am I supposed to do? I thought the whole idea was to overcome the self, I become less selfish, and by being less selfish, then I couldn't have a self. Could I? What if that's not true? What if there's actually more to it? I lived as a Buddhist monk for 6 years, and I traveled around to centers all over the world. Some of them were focused on helping others, meaning make the world a better place, which is something that I really enjoyed. The atmosphere in those centers were incredible, absolutely amazing. But at the same time, there was also a lot of suffering there. There were a lot of people who felt bad because they couldn't help enough, and they helped because they felt that that was the right thing to do. I also went to centers where people focused more inwards and looking at what was happening inside of them and trying to let go of this sense of self. And neither of these different schools really achieved what I wanted to find, which was, how do I enjoy being alive? How do I enjoy being me with all my idiosyncrasies and ideas and thoughts that I have? Not this model that I'm supposed to become, because this means that now I'm a spiritual person, but just me, whatever that is. And how do I live in a way with the world that I'm not always fighting with it, not always knocking my head and banging my head against other people's opinions about their ideas and creating conflict and then having fights. And it seems like helping others would be the perfect solutions. But when I saw people who did this even more than at these centers, people who did volunteer work. If you've ever met someone who's done volunteer work, they're usually really passionate about helping others and really want to create good in the world. And I always find people like that amazing. But they could have huge egos. They were so full of their idea that they were on this golden throne above other people because they were helping save the world. They were doing the holy path. They had overcome the sense of self because they were helping others. But they suffered like few other people too, because they felt so bad when other people weren't happy, when other people were suffering, meaning that they help from a sense of, I feel bad, I feel not good, so I'm gonna make myself feel good by helping others, which is not unselfish, actually. Your actions might be unselfish, but there's a lot of self in that behavior because you're trying to make yourself feel better by helping others. And you believe that there's some kind of reward at the end if you're able to help others. I think this comes from when you look at people who had overcome their self, or to at least to a certain degree when you overcome yourself. And there's not a strong sense that I am here, and you're just out experiencing and enjoying being there, wherever that there may be, then it's quite natural that when you're in a good mood and you enjoy being alive, it's not difficult to be kind, to be gentle. It seems like the most natural thing to do when you're in these states of not feeling a strong sense of self, that I just want to help others because it's just obvious. It's very difficult to get in a fight with someone when you're in a good mood, because why would you? You're in a good mood. You don't need to fight with them. And it's also very natural to be gentle towards other people and also not do harm, because, again, it doesn't make any sense to do harm to others when you're in a good mood. And then people see people who have achieved this and who walk around like this all the time, and they think, oh, I get it. I understand what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be kind. I'm supposed to help others. I'm supposed to smile all the time and be really happy and make others feel happy. Then I don't have a sense of self. So they're kind of going at it backwards. They're seeing the results and they're trying to do the results and believe they're going to have the inside. And the problem is that there's actually some truth to it. You can lessen this sense of self by if you hold on to everything and want to have everything for yourself, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to let go of this greed, this craving by giving away, then you touch the sense of self that says, no, I need to keep it by giving it away. But they can also flip. If you keep giving away, believing that you're going to become a better person or become happier when you do, then it's the same thing. It's just flipped around. So that's kind of a easy trap to fall into. And if you've seen people who've done this, it's quite obvious after a while that they're not happy, or at least they base their happiness on the results of their actions, which is not overcoming the self or some kind of liberation. It's just a really nice way of being in the world, meaning that if you go out and you try to help the world and make the world a better place, that's generally going to, I personally at least think that's a much better way of living life than going out and believing that I'm going to take all the money that I can get and get everything for myself, then I'll be happy. But both approaches have the same problem in that you're never going to be truly fulfilled or happy, because you're always going to want to help more people, need to help more people, need to achieve bigger things. And I saw this so much when I was a monk with monks who wanted to have bigger centers. They wanted more people to become Buddhists, more people to meditate, more people to overcome their suffering. And it's the same thing. I want to have more people become rich. I want to be even richer. I want to have a bigger house, more houses, better cars, more wives. Okay, one wife is enough. But more things to become happy. And if you can see that this is actually the same thing, then you see that there's a problem with this kind of behavior. An example that I use sometimes is that if you see a movie and you see them in a scene and there's this beautiful house and you think, wow, that's what a beautiful house is like. So you build an outside that looks like a beautiful house. But if you go on this set, actually inside the house, there's absolutely nothing there. It's just like a shell. It looks the same as a house, but it isn't really a house. And I think that's a good way of viewing this, meaning that if you believe that helping others is going to help you overcome yourself, that is kind of like building the shell around it, showing like, hey, look at my house. It's so beautiful. And it looks the same from the outside. But what goes on inside is the main thing. Now you might think, well, what's the difference? It doesn't really matter. The main thing is that we help people, right? If I go out and help someone, it doesn't matter if I do it because I want to feel good. I've still helped someone. From the outside, it might seem like that. But if you think about it, if I try to come and help you, and I come to you because I need to feel good, I feel bad seeing you suffer, and I need you to do something to make me feel better. So I help you, and I try to get you out of, let's say addiction. And I'm really engaged with this. I put all of myself into you. So my happiness is based on you being able to get out of your addiction. And you can feel that. You can feel that I'm not just there for you. I'm there for me as well. And that also creates a problem when this person who I'm trying to help doesn't want to be helped, because then I'm going to try to convince them and enforce them. And it's a different dynamic. Whereas if I come and I feel good, I'm in a good mood, and I am at peace with myself, I enjoy being me, I enjoy being here, being alive, just this sheer miracle of being here. And I come up to you and I see that you're suffering because you're in a state of addiction, and I try to help you, and I simply say, well, do you need help? But I'm not basing my happiness on you overcoming your addiction. Instead, I can go there and I can be there. I can be okay with you falling back into your addiction, of you falling off the horse and not doing what you want to, and not having you feel that, oh, he or she doesn't love me anymore because I didn't do what they needed me to do for them to be happy. Instead, you're just there. And you can also see that this person doesn't want to be helped and is not able to be helped right now, so then you can leave it alone. Or you can also stay longer because you don't get hurt by them falling off the horse or getting back into their old patterns, because you're not basing your sense of happiness on their actions. It is easy to fall into this belief that if I do good, then I'm on the spiritual path and I'll get some kind of reward by doing something outside. It's so ingrained in our psyche that we I think, have a hard time overcoming it. And it doesn't really make sense that it could be another way. Meaning that you need to first work on you. You need to be okay with you. You need to accept you for who you are. And then do your best to not fight with the world about the things that you disagree with. And see that you can have a disagree with someone when they don't want to be helped and still be their friend, still be there for them, still be able to be there as a human being, accepting them, not judging them, not putting them down, but actually seeing them just as a person. And if you can do that, then that will be more help than, well, forcibly taking them out of their addiction, because very likely as soon as you disappear, they could fall back in again. So the main thing that I wanted to get across in this is that helping others can actually create a very strong ego, because you base your happiness on your ability to help others, and that can put you above others, meaning that you believe you're better than them. And it's not that you could actually be better at helping other people than others. I mean, that could be completely true. It's the feeling of I'm better than you, and I feel this distance as I'm pushing towards other people and myself. Whereas if you focus on simply enjoying being alive, being you, being here, and then go out into the world and help others, that's a completely different approach that will help you help others in a way that you simply couldn't do before. And then it's a much more sustainable way, because I've seen so many people burn out when they go out and try to help people and it doesn't work. They don't do what they believe they should do, and they suffer. And then they're just stuck in the same thing they did before. Instead of trying to get richer, having more things, they now try to help more people, and when that doesn't work, they suffer as well. So trying to break out of that, the best way to do it is for you to focus on enjoying being here, of being okay with the world being the way it is. And then when you're okay with that, then you go out and do your best to change it into what you think is the best version of the world. Now, this sounds amazing, I'm sure, but how do you actually do this? Well, the first step is that you need to focus on what's happening inside of you. You need to be aware of your distortions, your reactions towards the world around you. And there is one technique that I found is by far the best to train to improve this ability to notice what's happening inside of you. So I made a video where I explain why breathing meditation is genius, because it's one of the techniques that really helps us become aware of our internal state, of our distortions towards things around you, about our sense of self reacting, getting angry, wanting to be justified, wanting to be right. And you can watch that video here where I go into more detail about that.